Hi there. Welcome to another presentation of the Globe Sound Healing Conference. Now we have Ellen Wier. Hi,
Hello.
Ellen.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Welcome, welcome. Ellen is a highly sought after transpersonal and music therapist who draws from her profound near death experience at age 12, where music brought her out of a coma. This transformative event inspires her to use music as a powerful healing tool. Featured in award-winning documentaries like Beyond the Grave and recognized by thought leaders such as Jack Canfield and James Van Praagh, Ellen's work and her book is known for its depth and transformative power. What have you been up to lately?
Yeah, lots.
Yeah. Oh, that's your book there? Let's see.
This is my book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, um, if you had all the money in the world,
hmm
what would you do to help people on the planet?
I think that I love this idea of old buildings and churches being created for sound, and I believe that they were. I believe that cathedrals and historical buildings all over the world since ancient times were created to transport sound and to allow people to have sound experience. And I would build more of these buildings for communities so that every community could have access to a building where people could come and bring sound and people could experience the vibration into their body. I really think that's something we need to come back into and make accessible to all people. So I would do that
I love,
100%.
I love that. I love that. Excellent. So, tell us about your experience that you had when you were 12.
Yeah, I was kicked in the head in the temple by a horse when I was 12 and the cinch had slipped. And my parents, I was taken to a local hospital in Hillcrest, Texas, but then I was sent to Waco for my parents to play movies at my bedside to try and stimulate my mind. I was in a coma for about 5 days. And on the particular day that I had my near-death experience, at least as far as I know, they had chosen a movie that was 90% classical music. It was Tchaikovsky that was playing in the background. And I remember being on a raft, which is kind of, I depicted it in my book cover. It's like on a raft, and in front of me was an ascended master that I knew was Ascended Master Jesus. And to the left of me was another ascended master that I didn't know. I came to find out he was Buddha, but at the time I felt very connected and whole. I was taken into the light, into this golden realm of light where I became love, like complete, absolute, unconditional love and acceptance, 100%, just the immersion of this feeling. I remember the experience of this love around me, even though I didn't have a body. I felt the fullness of it and I became the love. I just became. And I'm kind of skipping forward a little bit, but I found myself back on this raft and I chose outside of my human consciousness. I chose to come back and live. I was given the choice. And at first I didn't want to come back at all. Honestly, I wanted to stay in the light because I felt more real there than I do here. I felt like this is the illusion and that's the reality. But they showed me that I was shown the trajectory of life if I were to stay on the other side and how it would affect my father and a little bit about my brothers. And so my soul decided there was no right or wrong. So just know that no right or wrong. I could have chosen either way, but my soul chose to live. And when I chose to live, I was flooded with these messages about why we're here, why now, what we're meant to do, how we create our reality through our thoughts, how our thoughts are a distraction from the reality of the presence of who we really are and what we're meant to be. And I was so completely grateful that I got to come back and live. I was so overwhelmed with gratitude when all these knowings that came to me that I made a promise and I said, I will come back and heal people with music. That was my vow to the other side. And I remember I'm 12 years old. Like, how do I even know to say that, right? Like, I said, I will come back and heal people with music. And then I made another vow that I will give gratitude every day for every experience in life, knowing that it is a gift and that every experience is meant for us to expand our life. And then, I found myself in darkness, but I saw music notes in the distance, and each music note was a different color. I couldn't hear anything, but I could see this different colored music notes moving like an animated staff. The staff got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it went through me. And then there was this pinprick of light, but it wasn't light, it was sound. And the sound was so inaudible that I almost didn't think it existed. But I focused every ounce of my energetic body on the sound until it became louder and louder and louder and louder. And then the only thing I could do to escape the discomfort of the loudness of the sound, which was music, was to force my eyes open, and I was in the ICU. And then from that moment on, I immersed myself in classical music and playing classical music and becoming, it was my art and my outlet and my love and my passion. And then I found out about something called music therapy. I went to a Buddhist university in Boulder where they had a dual master's in psychology and music therapy, because my dad said, if you're going to get a degree in music therapy, you need a backup degree. He was thinking scientifically, you need that. And I learned there, my near-death experience was my why. And my work at Naropa in contemplative practices and meditation and altered states of consciousness work, and a process called the Bonnie method of guided imagery in music, where we can access different parts of the brain through classical music programs. That became my how. And the last part that was kind of full circle was when I was walking up to meditation class, because I was immersed in meditation for 3 years at this school. I saw a depiction of Buddha that matched the Buddha that I saw in my near-death experience. He wasn't the big belly Buddha. He was a thin, bald, younger version in long brown robes with bare feet. And I knew that I had come full circle. I had had my why, and this was my how. And the first time I experienced this journey through classical music, this just makes me so overwhelmed with gratitude. It was the closest I'd ever come to heaven on earth. I could access information and light through the music that I accessed when I was there. And so my whole practice, everything that I've done since then, is bringing in different elements to lead people into that musical journey through consciousness. And it stimulates the same parts of the brain as LSD. And so I found that through breath work and through the use of the bowls, which is a highly somatic experience, highly vibrational, then it's an induction. It's an induction into this process with classical music. And so the more I learned about the science of it, the more fascinated I became. And then it's adding more and more elements to the sensory experience of this process has been my practice. And my book talks about like each level of the journey and how I discovered the brain activity using certain essential oils, even how to use intention. I haven't even talked about the science of water, and how the water element holds intention and holds consciousness. And we don't think, oh, consciousness doesn't belong to water, but it does. Water has the ability to change based on how we speak to it. It has the ability to respond through studies that are coming out through Veda Austin and through Dr. Emoto. We're learning that water is a transportive element of light and also vibration. And so by using the water element in the body with this process, like that's another element. So all the elements have come to me in mystical experiences, and I outline them here and give people practices on how to do this work at home, how to grow their intuition, how to alchemize experiences of contrast in their life in order to create practices of gratitude, how to review their life, how to manifest all that here, but that's my work.
Wow. So what instrument do you play?
My main instrument is flute. I also play piano and guitar. My minor instrument was clarinet, and I loved learning
I
to
play
play the trumpet.
clarinet. I
Oh, you
played
do?
clarinet. Yeah, I was in the symphony, and
Oh, that's so.
and then I took up bass clarinet so I could be first chair.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was always third in the symphony. I was third chair / piccolo, or second flute or third flute. But in the symphonic band, I was always first chair, and I loved it. I think.
So when playing the music, you can go into this realm as well as just listening.
Um, well, no, because, well, yes, probably, but I can access it for me, right? Because that's my place of expansion and release. But when with somebody who doesn't know how to play music, it's mostly the recorded classical music that comes through. And there's a process that you have to get, move into different brainwave states, right? And then release somatically through the body so that you can move into the classical music journey. When I meet with someone one-on-one, they access different levels of information in the transpersonal realm, which is what I talk about in this course, which transcends the ego. And so I've noticed that when I do one-on-one with clients, they're in an altered state, they're deeply under, but the classical music keeps them conscious enough to be able to access their conscious mind and deeper levels of awareness and transpersonal states. And so I'll find that they might have an intention of releasing fear of speaking, right? So we might go into a transpersonal space where they connect with light beings or the light or love. And then they'll say, oh, but I feel this tightness in my throat. So then I have a process to take them through identifying the process in their throat. I use bowls or vibration, especially if it's in person. And we use communication and imagery to communicate with what's underneath that feeling in the throat. So they ask, we go through this process, they find out what it needs, we clear it, and then it might move to their head. They're like, oh, now I feel it in my head. Great. Okay, we're moving it, right? So we communicate with the head. What's there? Oh, it's a fear of public speaking because of this thing that happened to me when I was 12. Okay, we bring through that part. Let's talk to that part. This is the psychological piece. That part of you that's held that wound from a trauma in your life. How do we re-identify and reconnect with that part in a new way so you're not recreating the pain and patterns of your old life, and you can give that part of you a new role so that you're moving into a healthy dynamic with your voice. And sometimes I've even seen people go into past lives where they've died of feeling like they've been strangled. And so we say, oh, that's become a part now. We need to clear that through sound, through altered states of consciousness, through psychology, whatever. So there's a spiritual dynamic that's a little bit like outside of our thinking mind, but it's incredibly powerful because people leave and they are totally changed forever. And we see this as sound practitioners, right? That we change people's lives are changed because they are accessing their highest knowledge that is meaningful for them, not something we're placing on them. And that's the gift.
Cool.
Yeah.
So tell us what you do in your presentation here. I know you do the journey with the classical music as well.
Yeah, I give a little taste. I mean, the full journey of this process that I've developed and learned about is a 2-hour process. But I wanted to give people a taste of what's possible, because even in that small little experience, one can connect with the transpersonal realm. And the more that we practice this work for ourselves as practitioners or as those that are interested in sound healing, the better we get at communicating with our higher knowing. And I think that in this realm of existence right now, we get caught in the story of what we believe in our mind. And it's a trap because it's not real. It's a projection of our experiences in life and our influences or bias or whatever we want to call it. That's not real. It's all made up in our minds. So the more we can learn to escape that through sound, through music, through other art practices, the more we can truly access that higher knowing that we're meant to access here. I believe that's our path. Like the more we connect with our higher knowing, the more we ascend and like move into.
Cool. Okay, well, let's check it out.
Okay.
And then we'll talk on the other side. Okay.
So before we begin, I want to discuss what transpersonal is. Transpersonal psychology is a field of psychology that bridges the spiritual world and the spiritual realm with the human. It transcends the ego, transcends the conscious mind. And I'll read a little bit more here. It focuses on the spiritual and interconnected aspects of human existence, integrating traditional psychology with the spirituality, right, of the human, whatever it may be. We all have different experiences, all have different frameworks in which we see the world. States of higher consciousness, altered states of consciousness, of meditation, deep meditation, connection to nature, plant medicine, near-death experiences, spiritually transformative experiences, all of these things that we lead, sound intervention, music, can all take us to this transcendent place of leaving the ego behind. And that's what I'm talking about today. I'm going to show you a few ways to connect as a practitioner to lead people into that transpersonal realm. And I'm going to start with a practice called toning. Toning is an ancient practice where we vocalize on different sounds in the body in order to clear energy. There is a field of psychology called somatic psychotherapy that believes that we hold energy in the body. And a lot of times you might find that when you're working with people that they feel things in the body. They might feel pain, they might feel discomfort at first as they're starting to move things through. Because when we reach those transpersonal realms, we're connecting the body, we're clearing the body in order to access the higher light realms. And through my near-death experience and the information that came through to me there and also continues to come through to me, and the research that I've looked at into collective consciousness, we know that you are connecting to something greater. You can shift that energy through this work. So we're going to start with toning. Toning is that ancient practice of moving sound through the body. I use some information from my training as a music therapist and also from this book called Wheels of Life by Anardea Judith. This book holds information about how different sounds can clear different chakra centers, which I'm going to talk about next, different energy centers. And whether or not you believe in the energy centers, just know that when we create an intention with sound, we are giving the body an anchor to hold on to. So as long as we are believing and really sinking into that intention, we are moving energy, whether you believe it or not. So I like to use different sounds. The first sound is UH for the root chakra. That is our center for safety and security. I use U for the navel chakra, O for the solar plexus, A for the heart, A for the throat, E for the third eye, and then I for the top of the head. So I'm going to lead you through this for a bit, but I want to explain that by doing this, you can open up the body center, align the body to be ready to release, to move higher, to leave the thinking mind behind. Any practice that we do that can take someone out of the thinking mind and into the presence with their own higher self is our goal, right? We don't want to be the answer. We don't want to be the guru. We want them to be their own guru. And this helps to do that. We also align ourselves for a deeper, more receptive session. We open the body pathways and we align ourselves with our client. So I'm going to practice this for a moment. The sound I'm going to use is O. This is the sound of community and connection. It's very familiar with it, with the Om, but this is just O. O is also connected to the solar plexus, which is our center for warrior energy, autonomy, self-discipline, and even holds a space in creative power. So as you breathe, I'm going to have you align yourself now. Align the spine, sit up tall, lead with your heart. Allow the exhale to be twice as long as the inhale. This is when we qualify the space as practitioners. I like to say, I now joyously accept the fullness of my mighty divine presence. When I say this, it qualifies the energy. It also sets the stage for the client. That we are qualifying this for the highest and greatest good, which helps us to build rapport. And as I connect to the center just below the breastbone, I sing O. Just notice how you feel. This is our center for autonomy and willpower, strength, warrior energy. We're going to move our awareness up to the throat now. The sound of A is connecting to the throat. We're going to play with the sound just to see how it feels for you, so you can get a feel for this change in energy. We imagine light coming through the voice. We imagine the voice resonating from the voice, the throat chakra. This vibration from the throat is what we see as we sing. And you may even want to imagine or have your clients imagine light extending from this place as you sing. The color to use with this would be blue if you're using color. I'll get to that next. Take a deep breath into the throat, seeing the vibration emanate from the throat, and play with your sound a little bit. You can move your voice around. Where the voice feels most comfortable. The pitch doesn't matter. And you can tell your clients this too. Worry less about the sound, the pitch. Worry more about connecting to that collective vibration. And now we bring awareness to the heart. And you might bring a little imagery in here. Feel the expansion of the heart, the soft expansion through the breath. Feel light traveling directly into the heart through the vibration. And when you're ready, sing the sound of Ah with me. When I move to the third eye, I make it a little higher. I go with the E sound. I use higher bowls, which I don't have with me today, but I'm sure you do at home. Notice how there's a difference, a dissonance in the air. Feel the binaural beats. We talk about those a lot. People to hold their closed eye gaze, looking at the back of the third eye. This is a powerful skill that you can use. We're transcending, we're ascending through the body, through the voice. Feel the vibration moving into the forehead, opening behind the eyes. Feel the light expanding. See the light expanding from that space. And then we move to the top of the head, the crown chakra. The sound is I. I invite people to bring their source energy in through this sound. And I say to them to imagine directly into the imaging, or I go into different experiences of progressive muscle relaxation. I might do little experiences of light. I might work with color and sound as I introduce the chakras. But this is the first piece, the clearing. Notice how good you feel, and notice how elevated the space you're in is now. Pay attention to any images that came through for you, any colors, because they all have meaning. And that gets me into the next part, the second technique. That was before the session, and next is the technique to use within the session. So I work a lot with color and sound as well as music. My experience with the bowls, I move into music and imagery through classical music, and I'm going to share that with you as well today. But I want you to first experience and know a little bit about the chakras. The chakra system is a system of understanding energy centers in the body, and whether or not you believe it, assigning color and assigning meaning to each energy center helps the brain have a focus in moving energy within the body, and it helps the water element within the body to move that energy too. So sound and chakras, different frequencies and tones align with chakras. You might know this through your bowls, that typically the alignment is C for the root chakra, D for the navel, E for the solar plexus, F for the heart. You know, sometimes F sharp is the thymus between the heart and the throat. We've got G for the throat, we have A for the third eye, and we have B for the top of the head. That comes from this book as well, On a Day of Judith, but it's typically used in sound practitioners and the toning bowls, and most people do get different chakra bowls. I personally don't use the chakra bowls for chakra stuff. I use more intention, and I use the harmonics of the bowls and the intervals between the bowls, like a minor second. I use the perfect fifth as perfect harmony in the body. I build my work off of the chords that I learned as a musician because my undergrad was in performance. So with my music background, I use that as my framework, but a lot of people use the chakras. So I'll lead you through a quick experience of a chakra clearing and using the toning and the chakra philosophy. And then we'll go into a little bit of the music, right? So I think we'll start with the heart today. Imagine that your heart is opening to light. See a powerful green light within the center of your heart, expanding more and more like energy wants to do. Feel the soft expansion of the heart as you breathe in and you sing Ah. Imagine your heart receiving this light and pulsing it through your body, seeing your veins come alive with this powerful light. And in infinite wisdom, see this light traveling wherever it needs to go for the greatest healing right now. Imagine that your higher self is moving through this light. Powerful force of love pulsing through your veins, lifting you into the dominion of your own light, charging your body through this powerful rhythmic beating of the heart, as if you are coming back online, connecting to the heart of creation, remembering the light which you are, and transporting that light everywhere in your body. See this green color beginning to expand more and more, connecting to those you love and expanding into the different energy centers of the body. And this is where I might move up to bring people's awareness to the blue energy within the throat. And I may just have them experience want to move into a little bit of the classical music journey, just so you can experience that part of this for yourself. Because for me, when I experienced my near-death experience, I simply wanted to go back to that place. I wanted to feel the light again. I wanted to feel all that love. And as a human, I just didn't get that opportunity until I was introduced to a process called Bonnie Method of Guided Imagery and Music. It is a process that is available to licensed psychotherapists and to music therapists. It takes about 10 years of training. But the first time I experienced this, and I do teach a similar method that I've adapted, right? That's my training program. I went back to that place of light where I felt the warmth around me, moving into me. I reconnected to that love, that presence that we are. And I started to see visions. This classical music program that I use actually simulates the same parts of the brain as LSD and different plant medicine, but without psychotropics. I'm going to give you a little example of that today, of a technique that I use to move people more deeply into the transpersonal realm through their own imagination and through classical music. So if you can, I would like to take you through that process now. Typically, I go from toning into another process with the bowls, where I use different types of light or progressive muscle relaxation. I use breathwork techniques. But today, for the sake of time, I'm going to take you right into just a journey through the music. So excuse me while I start it. So I want you to take a moment and imagine yourself in a place that feels safe and peaceful and easy. A place that's been waiting for you to arrive. Close your eyes and expand your awareness now. Notice the time of year, what you're wearing, the life that surrounds you. Let every sense become accustomed to this place. Noticing the sounds. The smells are so strong you can almost taste them on your tongue. It may be the smells of grasses and flowers, or the salty sea air, or the sharp smell of pine needles in the forest. Feel the support of this place. The light on your skin, the soft give of the earth or the sand beneath your toes. Feel the expansion in the air. And imagine that you have been brought here to find a gift. Something that's been waiting for you to rediscover. Something about you that you need to know. Look around this place. Imagine that you can see this gift waiting for you now. Feel the texture. Notice the colors. Feel the energy emanating from this powerful gift, as if it is radiating through your body. Receive this gift even if you don't understand yet what it means. And imagine that you can ask it what it needs from you. Imagine it can communicate with you in a way that you both understand, whether through visions, images, percent, colors, body sensations. It might be through emotions. Whatever it communicates to you, know that you can give that fully, whether it's asking for your fear, whether if it doesn't know, it's asking for your confusion. Maybe it's asking for love, acceptance, peace, harmony, forgiveness. With everything in your soul, fueled by your higher self, imagine you can give that. And watch this gift in yourself become transformed. For as you give, so you receive. And as you fully integrate this message and this gift, I'd like you to imagine that you are not alone in this place. Here to join you is a guide or an animal. It could be a light being, an ancestor, a healer, a teacher, a loved one, past or present, a higher version of you, a younger version of you, a future version of you. And this being is here with love, pure love and connection. And whether seen or unseen, imagine you can feel the air building with the energy of this being. Notice how good it feels. How beautiful. How loving. Feel your heart filling with gratitude. Complete love and acceptance. This being is paying homage to your journey, everything that you've been through. Perhaps they have a message. Receive whatever you are meant to receive now. Feel it moving through you. Take a deep breath and receive. Surrender to that higher energy, leaving your human behind and receiving more. And now, give thanks for all that came through, knowing that you are better for this, and knowing that you can come back to this experience at any time by simply recalling the images that came to you today. Sit with this for a moment and consider what messages you want to bring back to your waking world. For I want to talk about how to process whatever comes through for your clients. In that brief experience, which was a snippet of an hour-and-a-half process that I have created, a tiny, tiny snippet, hopefully you receive some information for yourself, something, right? You can even fall asleep during this process when it's the full process, and it will continue to work for you because we're moving through theta brainwave states, we're moving through altered states of consciousness, we're moving out of the ego into the unconscious mind. So everything that comes through has meaning. And a big part of this work and transpersonal work is to help your clients process that meaning. There are many ways to do this. First of all, there's a book that you might want to look into called Transpersonal Psychology and Spirit. Great book for understanding transpersonal techniques, for understanding the collective consciousness that might come through in your sessions. Wheels of Life is another good one. Transpersonal Psychotherapy is a great book. This one is by Borstein, right? So you can start to learn a little bit more about transpersonal processes. And one that I truly love is, and I've used it since my days at Naropa, is Animal Spirit Guides by Dr. Stephen Farmer. And this book is a powerful way to connect with the meaning of animals. I'm going to just choose an animal from this book that may or may not resonate with you, but this book has never been wrong. When a client says to me, I saw a falcon, I saw a hawk, I saw an eagle, I saw a dolphin, we'll stop on dolphin, I know from my experience that dolphin is typically a bridge between worlds. You will start to learn this stuff as you work more with animal medicine, but you can start through this book. So if a dolphin shows up for people, I like to say, this is the interpretation of this person. He studied many different Native American tribes, and he found similarities in the animal meanings, and he put them together in this book. It is a powerful, great resource. So I'll say, if this aligns with you, you can receive it. And what is a message for one is a message for all, because we are entering into collective consciousness when we work with groups. But the dolphin shows up. It means take a few minutes to meditate while playing your favorite music, listen more and talk less to the subtle communications in the world. Think and behave more lovingly toward the person you're having difficulty with. Smile more at others and notice how they smile. And try breath work with gentle puh, releasing after 3 deep breaths. So this is just one resource, and I wanted to give you an example of that, of how you can help to process what comes through for your clients, to hold that space so that they move deeper into levels. There are also associations that we can create. You know, when we work with different elements, sensory experiences and sounds, and we've got sound covered, but smells, right? We can start to work with all these different sensory experiences that take us more deeply into that altered state of consciousness that we're going for, where we really transcend the thinking mind. And the beauty of this is, the more that people are in these altered states and that they can get to that, and they trust themselves and they trust you to take them there and hold them in love. You never want to put your perspective of what's going through on them. Allow them to express what it means to them, and remind them, well, what is a message for one is a message for all. So as you continue to do this work, you'll find different things start to come through to you intuitively, and you'll see similarities in these experiences. I see a lot of collective consciousness work where, for instance, one client will have the same vision as another, and so we hold space for that and what that means to them. So I just wanted to briefly touch on that. I teach that a lot more through the reflective experience. It really helps them to integrate what came through before they leave you. So transpersonal states are powerful on their own. If you're doing a sound bath and you don't feel comfortable with that part of it, that's fine. But this integration is a practical way that people can bring your work into their everyday life. They remember you more. They remember the experience more. They start to learn to look more for the signs. So it's enhancing their intuitive skills. And it's just an ongoing way to keep them connected. It's holistic, transformative, and a way to bring these techniques into their daily lives. I always leave my clients with the opportunity to continue to look for signs. Like, they may come through dreams, it may come through animal encounters, synchronicities, music, lyrics in your life. These are things that I leave them with as well. So hopefully through this process today, you've learned a little bit about yourself and your own transpersonal process. You've learned a little bit about, a little tiny bit about the research behind this work, because again, when you are in an altered state of consciousness, in this imaginative state, if you can get people there, their body doesn't differentiate between reality and imagined. Their body responds as if it's real. The heart rate regulates, the breath regulates, the cortisol levels in the blood drop, blood pressure regulates. It's a powerful process of taking people into their experience and out of their thinking mind. It's a powerful way to get their body back online. Many people report reduced pain. Dr. Mitchell Gaynor did a lot of work on oncology patients. He was the head of oncology for a major hospital, teaching hospital in Chicago. And he learned that this technique with sound bowls and toning was so powerful that it actually helped his cancer patients recover more quickly, and they had a better quality of life, and many of them actually recovered better than those that didn't have this practice. So look into his work as well. I almost forgot to mention that you can find more of my work at musictherapy.com. And I have a YouTube channel as well. Forgive the sound. I wasn't set up for great sound when I first started the channel. You can find more about my near-death experience in my book called Waking Up in Heaven, Living with Purpose Through Afterlife Wisdom. It also talks about how I developed this process and goes way more in depth about how to use this process for client work. And I was in a movie that won Best Paranormal Film of the Year in 2023 called Beyond the Grave. I just have a small part in that movie, but if you're interested in near-death experiences and life after death, that might be of interest to you. I also hold a weekly meditation group on Facebook called Your Sacred Space. There is information about that on our website. And I have an Instagram page, Wellness Music Therapy. And we do worldwide retreats and travel the world doing this process and holotropic breath work and regular breath work with this process. We have been selling out venues all over the country. I'm very proud to say we do that with my partner Neil, who does the breath work, and I do the bowls. And we hope to come to your area soon and would love to talk more with each of you one-on-one. If you want more information about our work, you can text me at my business number, which is 760-230-0040. Text the word e-card, all one word with no hyphen, and you'll get information about all of these offerings that I have, and even about some of the classes that I teach. So thank you so much for your time and energy today, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Wow. Well, that was fun, and what an experience.
Yay.
So what was the classical music you played?
So I used two variations on the Enigma variations by Elgar, and they come from a program in the Bonnie Method called the Positive Effect Bonnie Method of Guided Imagery and Music. There are hundreds and hundreds of these programs, and they've been studied since I want to say the 50s or 60s in the music therapy world. But I use two of those just as a little example of how they can evoke imagery in the participant.
It was really cool because your energy and your voice kind of rode on top of it.
Yeah.
And that was really cool. Is
Yeah.
there certain types of classical music that works better for this than others?
Absolutely. I mean,
How would you describe it?
well, you want classical music that mostly is romantic, helps to evoke more imagery. That's at least what I've found in my work. Some of the more intense classical music, like Holst and those types of artists or composers, are more evocative for past life regression or huge transformational kind of energy. So it really depends on what you want to do. There's a program for past life regression. There's a program for nurturing, catharsis, transformation. There's a peak experience, positive. Everything you could think of, every emotional state and more has been covered by this modality. And the more you get to know the music and the structure of the music, the more you can build in prompts that help to engage the participant to explore more, and it's, if the kind of the music's coming to a peak, or if it's about to resolve, this whole structure of the music is our gift and our companion in leading people.
I love it. In my book, I actually talk about different flow systems,
Yes.
dynamic flow, and I
Oh, yeah.
actually draw them out in how to create a different dynamic flows in sound baths as well.
I
And
believe that.
yeah, it's exactly, it's the same. I wanted to mention, I use Anna Dea Judith's video on the actual chakras in my class on chakras.
Yeah.
It's such, if people haven't seen it, it's on YouTube, and the video, it's so psychedelic and it's so well done, right? It's
I'll
just,
have to look that up.
oh, it's just excellent. It's just really excellent.
She's amazing.
And then you'd mentioned something about panic attacks, and I'm like kind of a specialist. I've been working with panic attacks in detail, and I found that if you use a stable, consistent vowel, in whatever frequency, and find for each chakra, that it will get rid of the panic attack completely.
Wow. I believe that it's so powerful when we tap into our voice. I think that it's doing a few things. I think, first of all, it's aligning our energy centers, right? So we're escaping, when we're vocalizing, it's easier to escape the story that we tell ourselves, which can feed that anxiety, that panic. but it's this movement of sound and the use of the voice that I think needs more exploration. In fact, I have this theory that that the stone circles, ancient stone circles and pyramids were created for sound and voice.
Mhm.
And even the stones that are stacked, right? I believe that that's done through vibration, or there's some way to do that and move stones through vibration. So my dream has been to create a sound healing with the voice retreat. And so we're going to Ireland next year to bring the voice and voice techniques and the bowls and the music and all breath work and all the things to Ireland, to these ancient stone circles that are less populated. So we can actually just show up with a group and sing and see what happens. But there's something untapped there. There's research that needs to continue about that, because I think people don't realize how powerful we are with our voices.
Yeah, yeah. I often say it's just the difference between chaotic vibrations and
Yes.
stable, consistent,
Yes.
which is peace, and that's all the vowels, right?
That
As
is
a
all of the vowels.
Yeah,
And that practice we call, in music therapy, we call toning. And it's been around since ancient times. And there are different thoughts on toning and which vowel sounds to use. But I find that when you pair the vowel sounds with intention, that's another key, because you're anchoring the brain with the voice, with the movement of sound. And it just gives you a focus, right, to move that energy. I think it's something I do at the beginning of every session. Besides qualifying the space, I do that. Yeah.
nice, nice. You know, one thing I wanted to mention that I commonly use frequencies for the chakras instead of notes.
Yes.
You know, low frequency, who cares what it is? Whoa, and
Oh,
then,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah. Me too. So that was how we were taught. So when we're in the root chakra, the sound is what I use. And I always go low. Oh, it doesn't matter what. But when leading into the E, which is the crown, is E, as high as you can go. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, and also getting people out of their head that it doesn't matter what it sounds like, right? It's just to be a part of the collective, or to be a part of that sound and to go higher. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So you mentioned something about using the musical intervals for the chakras. I know actually one of
Yeah.
my students actually wrote a book on connecting two or more chakras, four
Mhm.
different energies,
Yeah.
and like bringing the heart through the throat chakra and stuff. So tell me, how do you choose intervals for chakras?
Well, this came to me in my work. So I started, first of all, people started saying, well, I'm seeing green and blue. And so I started to recognize that connecting green and blue, depending on the blue, might be connecting the heart to the voice. There's a healing going on between the two centers. And then I personally was healing from Lyme disease. I have chronic Lyme disease, and the first two bowls I purchased were D and A. And not only are they a perfect fifth apart, right? They also happen to be, when I was reading some research somewhere, the two notes in which they say Lyme can't live in the body. So I just intuitively chose these. So I started becoming really interested in not just the sounds for the chakras, but the intervals and what they do to the body. We know that when we're listening to music online and we have them in two different ears, right, we can do these frequencies that are close to each other and they can create binaural beats. Well, when it's live, it's brainwave entrainment, because it's still available. It still moves energy, these dissonance like pitches that are close together, right? I started working with pitch because I know if I need to move energy, I can do a half step apart, and then I can go back to the perfect fifth, which I've read resonates in perfect harmony in the body. And then I started to think, well, if that's true, then could I not build off of a major chord? Right? Could I not just say the perfect fifth and then go down to the minor third and then the seventh, and then resolve through the musical structure that I learned in school? And I find it to be really, really powerful. So I built my bowls off of a base. I started with D. So it was D and A, and then I got F sharp, and then I got C sharp, and then the C sharp and the D are half step apart. So then that's creating these dissonance. And then I filled out the rest of the bowls. But if people start on a C, I always say, well, then go to a G for your next bowl, because you have that. And at the very least, maybe get a B so that you can have that half step apart. So the more I use it, the more I see that it works. And I'd love to know more about how and why. And I'd love to do research on it. And my next research, if I could pick anything to research, it would be this concept of collective consciousness, because I'm seeing and hearing people come through these experiences in groups. We do large groups. We had 90 people in Salt Lake City doing this work, and we sold out. It was the best. And there were people who didn't even know each other, and they were seeing the same visions. One woman saw herself in a church with her father in New Orleans because she had come to this experience to try and know if he's okay on the other side. And then another woman who had never met her, this halfway on the other room, she said, I know that church in New Orleans, and I saw you there with your father in my imagery. And then a third woman said, I brought this necklace with me today because when the original woman saw her father, not only did he say he was okay, but he told her, you are enough. That was the message that she brought back from her experience. So then this other woman saw the same vision, saw this woman she didn't know. And a third woman that was a participant said, I brought this necklace today and I knew it wasn't for me. I knew it was for someone here, but I didn't know who. And I held it the whole session and I want to give it to you. And she stood up in front of everybody, walked over and gave her this necklace that said, I am enough on it. And it was just, everyone was crying. People have this, they see the same poppy field and they don't even know each other. They see the same dog with a little red bow. They see and feel the same love. They see the same image of a pulsing heart. There's a consciousness we're tapping into that has been very hard to measure until now. And I know that that's next for us because it happens every single time, every time there's a group. So that would be the research I would want to, connect to.
I love it. We're looking at, we've got a research project planned and got the funding coming in starting tomorrow, actually, to actually measure with an electron microscope every single cell, all 70 trillion cells, which are different from person to person, but the musical interval relationships we're betting are going to be the same from person to person. And those are going to be mostly octaves or unison, which is the same, and musical fifths, and then thirds, because those are the first harmonics of sound. And so we're, maybe there's like some unusual intervals in the body, but probably not.
No,
Because
probably
it's
not.
beautiful harmony. And so we can map out the template of perfection for a human.
I love that. I can't wait to see how that goes. In my work personally, I found that the more dissonant intervals tend to move energy and be, in those moments where there's this high, like even in breath work, I'm using intervals now with the breath work that my partner does. He does this really powerful breath work. When we get to the point where they're holding, I use some more of the dissonance because it just feels right. Like, and then as they release, bring it back to the fifth.
Perfect.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very interesting. I can't wait to read about that.
Yeah. That's if they're not too fragile.
Right. Oh, of
Right.
course. Yeah. You
Right.
have to
Right.
do your due diligence.
Yeah.
And I will say as a disclaimer that the work with the Bonnie method is highly trained. You have to have a degree or many years in psychology in order to begin to even study this process. And those that have any states of dissociation, schizophrenia, that type of thing, any dissociative state would not be candidates for this process.
Cool.
So
Cool.
that is one thing to consider.
Excellent. So I just got back from Mount Shasta and I did a whole workshop up there with a ton of people. And there's a pyramid up there that's based on the Great Pyramid. You know about it?
Oh, I do. Yeah, we do retreats in Shasta every year.
And so you know Amaram's pyramid?
Yes.
Oh my God. I've known Amaram for years. I've been in a dozen times. He's like one of my best friends. So I went in and he's now got the pyramid amped up because he's got some new geometries outside of it. And for the first time when I went in, my crown chakra got lit up like a Christmas tree. I mean, really profoundly, like intensely. And then whatever these beings were doing, they went through each chakra from the crown down and and healed each chakra with stable, consistent vibration. And it was really cool because I just read something by Alice Bailey just a couple of weeks ago, the spiritual leader that channels different beings, and she said that when you uh, when you connect to your soul frequency,
Uh-huh.
it will actually come through the crown first and
Yes.
enliven and harmonize each chakra from the crown down. And that's
Yes.
exactly what happened. And
Yes.
then I'll tell you this, don't tell anybody. They said they then put a little pyramid, golden pyramid in my head
Oh, yes.
to be able to open the crown.
Yes. Yes.
Whenever I like.
I believe it. I've seen it. I believe it. I've heard it. It's absolutely true. And that I don't think I did this process in the example I did, but it always starts from the crown
Yeah,
down.
it's so
Every,
interesting. It's I've been doing like chakra work in detail, and I always go from the root up. But when
I,
people can open the crown,
yep.
then it's even better to go down. I realize that.
So it's funny, like as I do this work more, and one gift I brought back from my NDE was that I could see the light coming into people. I see different rays of light, different colors, and I see how it transports through the body. And it always comes from that presence down. And a lot of times going into the earth, being kind of discharged, but also not really discharged because the light transmutes it all. The earth receives it in the crystalline center, sends it right back up to source. So it's like a triangle that I'm witnessing. And more recently, I'm seeing this new version of earth. So it's kind of a new thing. I see different rays of light that mean different thing. First of all, the iridescent rays started coming through, and I'm like, what is that? And is that just me? I found out that other energetic healers are seeing this iridescent light too. I reached out to my mentor. She said, yeah, we haven't actually talked about that, because I read books about Shasta that are rooted in the history, the ancient history of Shasta. I've been studying that instruction for 5 years at least,
Mm.
but many lifetimes. She said, oh, we don't talk about that, but that's the ray of advanced civilization. And that's the ray that is used by the masters to help support advanced civilization. So when I started seeing that ray come into people that I was working with, I noticed that when the light went into the earth, a new earth emerged above the other earth that was a light version of itself. And then it's like lifting us all into a new consciousness and propelling the earth into something new. So I believe you, I see it. And I've heard people talk about like light surgery that they have in their brain as well.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, it
Yes.
was really
Yes.
profound. They showed me exactly what was going on with each chakra,
Yes.
step by step.
What a gift. And now you can teach others.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, God, thank you so much for your work. This is fun.
Yes. Very. Thank you for encouraging me and inviting me to be a part of this. I've wanted to be a part of this for years, so I appreciate it very much.
Oh, well, anything else you want to share before we finish?
Can I just tell them where to buy my book?
Yeah, go for it.
You can find my book on Amazon. I also do a weekly meditation group on Facebook, the best platform I have found for now, where I do downloads of these light, where people can experience like calling in their own light and messages for themselves and enhance their spiritual gifts. It's a donation-based group, and you can learn more on my website at wellnessmusictherapy.com.
Cool. Thank you so much.
You have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Bye.